The White House is more than just a presidential residence. It's a powerful symbol of American democracy, instantly recognizable around the world. Its iconic columns and stately facade have come to represent the ideals of freedom, leadership, and the enduring spirit of the United States. But beyond its symbolic presence, the White House is also a living museum of the nation's history, filled with artifacts and stories that span generations. For over 2 centuries, it's been the backdrop for decisions that have shaped not only the country, but the world at large. Wars have been declared, peace treaties signed, and groundbreaking legislation crafted within its walls. Every room and object tells a story about the leaders who have passed through its halls, each leaving their mark on the fabric of American history. The building stands for the peaceful transfer of power, a cornerstone of American identity, and a tradition that has set the United States apart from many other nations. Portraits of past presidents and first ladies line the walls, honoring the office and the chain of leadership. These images serve as a reminder of the individuals who have shaped the nation's destiny, each with their own vision and challenges. The White House is also a stage for diplomacy, hosting global leaders and national events that unite Americans and reflect the country's shared values and aspirations. Traditions here run deep. Outgoing presidents leave personal letters for their successors, offering advice, encouragement, and a sense of continuity that transcends political differences. Official portrait unveilings are bipartisan ceremonies, moments when political rivals come together to honor the office and the peaceful transition of leadership. These customs reinforce the idea that the presidency is bigger than any one person, and that the institution itself must be respected and preserved for future generations. Changes to how history is presented in the White House are taken seriously, as the building is a custodian of the nation's memory. Every artifact, portrait, and document is carefully curated to tell the story of America's journey. The stories told within its walls are meant to inspire, to educate, and to show respect for the office and the democratic process that underpins American government. This tradition of respect and historical preservation is what makes recent events at the White House so noteworthy, and for many, deeply concerning. When the norms and customs that have defined the presidency are challenged, it raises questions about the future of American democracy. The question now is clear: what happens when that tradition is upended? The answer will shape not only the legacy of the White House, but the very soul of the nation itself. On December 17, 2025, the White House made a dramatic change to how presidents are remembered. This was not just a subtle update or a quiet revision to the halls of history. It was a bold, unmistakable statement that would be seen by every visitor, dignitary, and staff member who passed through its storied corridors. New plaques were installed in the colonnade, beneath presidential portraits, a highly visible symbolic space. The colonnade, long a place of quiet reflection and reverence, was suddenly transformed into a gallery of pointed commentary. Instead of neutral summaries, these plaques used harsh, partisan language, especially targeting President Trump's immediate predecessors. The words chosen were not just critical, they were designed to provoke, to challenge, and to spark debate about the very nature of presidential legacy. The tone was personal and political, transforming a place of honor into a platform for attack. Visitors who once expected to see respectful tributes now found themselves confronted by sharp rebukes and pointed accusations. The White House confirmed the plaques were meant to describe each president's legacy, but the content sparked immediate controversy. News outlets and commentators quickly weighed in, with some calling it a necessary reckoning, while others decried it as a dangerous politicization of history. By placing them in such a public area, the administration made these judgments impossible to ignore. Every guest, from schoolchildren to foreign leaders, was now confronted with a new, divisive narrative about America's recent past. This broke with generations of tradition where the White House stayed above partisan battles. For decades, the presidential plaques had been models of restraint, offering only the most basic facts and dates. The plaques signaled a new approach, using the people's house to settle political scores and rewrite history. The message was clear: the White House was no longer just a symbol of unity, but a stage for ongoing political conflict. For many, it was a fundamental shift in the White House's role as a unifying symbol. The debate over the plaques became a debate over the very soul of the presidency and what it means to remember our leaders. The plaque for President Joe Biden was the most aggressive of all. Instead of a portrait, it was placed under a representation of an autopen, a jab at his fitness for office. The text called him Sleepy Joe Biden and the worst president in American history, echoing campaign rhetoric. It accused him of presiding over a corrupt election, disastrous policies, and personal decline, referencing campaign controversies and unverified allegations. The plaque even cited a specific debate loss and accused Biden of weaponizing law enforcement and pardoning radical Democrat criminals. For many, seeing such partisan attacks etched into a permanent White House display was shocking and unprecedented. The line between political rhetoric and official history had been crossed. President Obama's plaque was equally confrontational, using his full name and labeling him one of the most divisive figures in American history. It mocked the Affordable Care Act, criticized his economic and foreign policies, and revived debunked conspiracy theories about spying and the Russia hoax. The language was not that of a historian, but of a political rival settling scores. Obama's major accomplishments were ignored. Only failures and controversies were highlighted. By engraving these grievances, the administration sought to permanently tarnish Obama's legacy within the White House itself. This one-sided portrayal marked a radical departure from the respectful tone of past presidential remembrances. The plaques were not about history, they were about political victory. The White House quickly confirmed the author of the controversial plaques, none other than President Trump himself. This revelation sent shockwaves through both political circles and the public, as it was rare for a sitting president to take such a direct hand in shaping the narrative displayed within the nation's most iconic residence. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt explained that Trump personally wrote much of the text, ensuring his unmistakable voice and signature style were literally carved into the White House. She emphasized that the president was deeply involved in every word, reviewing drafts and making edits himself, determined to leave a personal stamp on the building's history. The administration defended the plaques as eloquently written descriptions of recent events, arguing they provided a unique perspective. However, critics quickly pointed out that many of the inscriptions read more like political attacks than objective history, accusing the White House of blurring the line between commemoration and propaganda. Trump's direct involvement was unprecedented. No other president in modern history has used the White House to permanently critique rivals or enshrine their own version of events in such a public, lasting way. By bypassing the traditional process involving historians and curators, Trump inserted his own narrative into the very heart of the nation's most symbolic building. This move sidelined experts who typically ensure historical accuracy and neutrality, raising questions about the role of personal legacy in public spaces. The plaque's style, filled with nicknames, capitalized words, and punchy, direct sentences, was unmistakably Trump's. Instead of the measured tone of a historical marker, the language echoed the energy and bravado of a campaign rally, making the displays impossible to ignore. This bold move reflected a belief that the presidency grants the power not just to lead, but to actively rewrite history itself, reshaping how future generations might remember these turbulent years. In this way, the White House became not just a seat of power, but a battleground for legacy, where the story of America is written and rewritten by those who hold the pen. The plaques didn't just target Biden and Obama, they also reframed the legacies of other presidents. Bill Clinton's plaque ended by noting Trump's defeat of Hillary Clinton, shifting focus from Clinton's own record to Trump's political triumph. In stark contrast, Trump's own plaques were glowing, highlighting tax cuts, economic growth, military victories, and cultural wins. His second-term plaque boasted of new tariffs, hardline immigration, and even a Golden Dome missile defense project. The difference in tone was dramatic. Rivals were failures. Trump was the nation's savior. The plaques weren't objective history. They were political tools, elevating Trump while diminishing others. The White House's walls became a canvas for a single narrative. The message was clear. History, here, is written by the victor. The reaction in Washington was deeply divided, mirroring the nation's political rift. Some Republicans, like Senator Lisa Murkowski, called the plaques inappropriate and disturbing, a breach of tradition. Others, especially Trump allies, dismissed the controversy, or even found it amusing, seeing it as Trump being a political fighter. Democrats were outraged, but former presidents' offices remained silent, perhaps to avoid fueling the controversy. The split revealed a fundamental disagreement about the presidency's role and the importance of political norms. For critics, the plaques politicized a national institution. For supporters, they corrected the historical record. The episode showed there's no longer consensus on what's appropriate presidential behavior. Even in honoring the office's history, the White House, once a symbol of unity, now reflected the nation's divisions. Traditionally, former presidents are honored with official portraits and bipartisan ceremonies at the White House. These events, filled with humor and respect, symbolize the peaceful transfer of power and the continuity of American democracy. Presidential libraries administered by the National Archives provide a balanced record for future generations. These customs rise above politics, allowing history to judge each presidency in time. The new plaques, by contrast, deliver instant partisan verdicts using the authority of the White House to declare rivals as failures. This bypasses the usual process of historical reflection for immediate political gain. The contrast is stark. Tradition seeks understanding. The plaques seek judgment. The White House's role as a unifying symbol is now in question. The installation of these plaques marks a turning point in how presidential legacies are treated. By using official displays to attack predecessors, President Trump broke with centuries of tradition. Critics warn this could set a precedent. Future presidents may rewrite history to suit their own narratives. The plaques fuse political campaigning with the duties of the presidency, giving partisan language a permanent place in the nation's most symbolic building. The story of the plaques is about a new era, where the norms of respect and restraint are no longer guaranteed. It raises urgent questions. Who gets to write history? Is the nation's memory now a political battleground? For now, the plaques remain, a testament to a divided nation and a presidency determined to leave its mark, for better or worse.